Welcome back to the Dark Manor podcast. I'm Hayden,
And I'm Haxon.
and today we're reading Stick Stickly.
No.
Dang it. We're reading 3 Slenderman stories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading two of them. Hax is reading
the
one of them. Yeah. The three we are reading are Der Grossman
Go to Dameron.
and
Schlankwald.
Schlankwald. Okay. We're starting with Der Grossman. I'm gonna butcher a bunch of this German shit. There are woodcuts dated back to the 16th century in Germany, featuring a tall, disfigured man with only 2 spheres where his eyes should be. They call him Der Grossman. Sick. The tall man. He was a fairy who lived in the Black Forest. Bad children who crept into the woods at night would be chased by the Slender Man. Okay, I already have something against this.
It has Slenderman spaced out.
No.
No capitalization for Slenderman.
No, I'll talk to it. I'll say it at the end of this.
Yeah, see it at the end of the story.
And he wouldn't leave them alone until he caught them, or the child told the parents what he or she had done. Even then, there is this chilling account from an old journal dating back to 1702. Translated from German, some words may be inaccurate. My child, my Lars, he has gone, taken from his bed. The only thing that we found was a scrap of black clothing. It feels like cotton, but it's softer, thicker. Lars came into my bedroom yesterday, screaming at the top of his lungs that the angel is outside. I asked him what he was talking about, and he told me some nonsense fairy story about Der Grossman. He said he went into the groves by our village and found one of my cows dead, hanging from a tree. I thought nothing of it at first, but now he is gone. We must find Lars, and my family must leave before we are killed. I am sorry, my son. I should have listened. May God forgive me. There's more evidence of the Slender Man, but this is one of the oldest translatable accounts. Can I mention what the...
I mean, yeah.
I
don't have anything against it. What's up?
Why do they call him the Slender Man in this one and everyone called him the Grossman?
I guess because it's like this guy's writing a creepy post about the Slender Man, and I guess
Yeah, but
I really don't know. I guess he just wanted to plug it in.
it's a continuity error. It's a continuity error.
That, and I guess he just wanted to be a little more famous and noticeable because it says chased by the Slender Man, you know?
Yeah. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is like the #1 Slender Man story.
I think so, because out of all these 3, I've only really heard of Der Grossman, mainly, at least like as another nickname.
I mean, I heard Der Grossman in Tribe 12, but I'm not sure if that was entirely true.
Well, I guess that would be. I mean, he is called the Tall Man, and Noah's Uncle Carl is German, so I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Overall, I give it a 7 out of 10.
I have to agree. Alright, next up is Gotha Dammerung. Berlin,
This time he won't fake it.
Berlin, Germany, April 30th, 1945. Ooh, Hitler's died. Fate has taken its course. Adolf Hitler, Chancellor of Germany.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. Allowed the tears to fall freely from his face. His wife, Eva Braun Hitler, lay beside him, the cyanide-induced seizures finally subsiding. He did not cry for her, though he felt her absence profoundly. No, Hitler cried for the death of Germany, the total devastation that had been visited on by his country and its people.
Wait, is this Slenderman story? Is the main character Hitler?
Well, I see.
Are they gonna tie it into his suicide?
I see Der Grossman like near the bottom before I scroll down more. So,
Huh.
He's
Yeah.
As if on cue, the wall shuddered as if more Slavic shells pounded the lands he had ruled absolutely for over 12 years. Above, the men and women of his country were being slaughtered and brutalized. The thought of his capital and its people under the thrall of the Marxist Untermenschen was horrific, and yet now it seemed inevitable. If only Great Britain had seen the value in alliance, if only his generals had led better against the Soviets. If only. Hitler's hand shook so violently at his thoughts that he dropped the cyanide capsule and handgun. His body was deteriorating. The disease he had carried with him since his early years was finally winning out. The Chancellor's mind wandered then, his thoughts going on his past in Vienna, his meager existence, the sights and sounds, the smells in the newspapers, the children in the streets, their eyes missing, black sockets staring at him. As if stumbling over something in a dark room, a memory startled him out of his reflections, horrified at the macabre, unnatural image burning into his consciousness. He shook himself.
Macabre.
No, I think that's macabre.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. He shook himself back to the present. He was shaking all over now, his body moist with sweat. His wife's body was still warm. The Soviets seemed to be dropping everything they could over his head, the dull thumps and crashes, never ceasing for a moment. The Walther PPK was cradled in his lap, the brass cyanide capsule close by. Fate has taken its course. Stealing his battered nerves, Hitler grasped the two items in each hand, taking several calming breaths in preparation. He looked around the bunker that would be his tomb. In the shadowed corner stood him. He wore a deep black suit, his head cocked to the side. Though Hitler could not discern the creature's facial features, he knew there would be none. This was der Grossman, a name Hitler knew and yet could not remember from where or when.
Pasta jacking.
Der Grossman did not move, his unnaturally elongated body swaying like the branches of a tree. The creature reached fully to the ceiling of the bunker, yet Hitler knew the creature could become much taller. Though the being did not have any shape or contours to his head, the Chancellor recognized it was looking at him. The shelling above seemed to muffle, and the air in the room began to thicken, and Hitler knew the creature was going to speak. Strange. You were not to see me as I observed you ending your life. The monster's voice was like three beings speaking in unison. A sultry female, a young child, and an elderly man. The elderly man...
It's a boomer!
Damn, Slenderman's a boomer. Oh, and a Gen Xer. Oh, and a Gen Zer. Oh god, he's everything. The elderly man held premise of the three at the moment. Hitler knew the creature could change the primary voice to express itself in place of facial features. Hitler sat frozen, his eyes wide. He tried to speak, but his mouth was dry and his mind was blank. Tremors set upon his hands again, yet this time he held to the cyanide and handgun. The noise outside seemed to cease, and the only noise the Führer could perceive was his shuddering breath. Memories, images from nightmares, and thoughts he had suppressed flooded his mind. Though the scenes and the events were all different, always were there the black sockets of children, and always the Grossman was present. Places from Hitler's past seemed to be retold in his mind's eye. The creature was there at the Putsch, and was at his inauguration in 1933. From Sudetenland to Paris, it had been there, watching. The monster in the corner spoke again. This time the voice was led by the woman. You are remembering now. That was unexpected. The Führer was finally able to recapture this voice. What do you mean? You have been declared a failure, like Hess, Göring, and Himmler. That you can see and speak to me now means things have perhaps changed. The voices seemed to cause pain to Hitler, yet he felt his ire rising at the mentioning of the three men. They all abandoned me, abandoned Germany. At their most dire hour, they would sell us to the United States, the Slavs.
America!
The Slavs and the filthy Jews! They failed. I have been at your side the entire time. I am aware of their failures. Hitler fell silent, his eyes falling on the handgun and cyanide. They failed me. Germany has failed me. The Uter mission will destroy everything that my people strove to build. It is all over. The Ashman male voice returned. You are pathetic, man, ruler of a dying empire. Your hubris brought things to where they are now. The fear started, his ears not used to hearing such naked accusation and criticism. You presume... The air suddenly tasted of metal, and the lights seemed to dim. The child's voice took primacy, and Hitler felt true fear weigh down his shoulders. I do not presume, manling. Your defeat was known well before now. You will watch your tone and show difference, Bunker Führer. Hitler did not breathe, did not move, as he watched the Grossman lift his arms toward him. Though he stood in a corner several feet away, the hands easily reached the Chancellor's bed. Hitler did not resist, did not flinch, as the hands grasped the cyanide capsule in the handgun and pulled him out of his shaking grasp. The Führer watched as the two items seemed to melt into the miasma and now enveloped the corner. After a moment, the air seemed to return, the darkness formed back into Grossman's shape, and the voice of the woman was loudest of the three. This was not an unexpected outcome, Adolf Hitler. It is a welcome surprise, both to myself and my master. You have fulfilled the prophecy. You are indeed the Messiah.
Okay, when I first heard you say Adolf Hitler, I kind of already knew it was for some reason, and I kind of already knew it was gonna take place during Hitler's suicide for some reason.
It's not Squidward's suicide. It's Hitler's suicide.
Another thing, why'd they have to make it about Hitler?
I mean, why not?
I mean, it's entertaining. In my opinion, it's entertaining just to see
Why not?
Hitler scared by Slenderman.
I mean, it's Hitler and Slenderman. Yeah, Götter Dämmerung means Twilight of the Gods. Oh, interesting little thing.
I give that an 8 out of 10, to be honest. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I can't really give it anything else.
Yeah. Because you don't have an opinion. Anyway, let's go to the third one. Or should we talk about Grotterdammerung a little bit more?
Well, I don't really have much to say about it. I pretty much liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. Anyway, let's go to Schlenkwald.
I'll touch your Schlenkwald.
How can you fit your whole hand around it?
It'll be pretty easy from how thin it is. Schlenkwald, slim forest, it means.
Anyway, I'm reading this one, so go off, David. They say that monsters only come at night. That light will drive them away. But not all creatures follow this rule, safety not certain during the day. He hides on the fringes of your vision, brief glimpses of the distorted. He slithers and writhes behind your eyes, reaching for you, limbs contorted. Before you know it, your children are taken, and now it's come down to you. His breath is oppressive, his presence acidic. He feels pity is undue. Suddenly, trapped in his grasp so tight, you struggle to break yourself free. He laughs and he gurgles and he screeches with glee. He turns your head for you to see. Your children are crying through though their eyes are removed. They collapse, still and silent. His arms and legs end, pulling you closer. The man's eyes dark and violent. He strikes and he cuts you. Your skin flays open, your soul too weak to resist. This should not have happened if only you listened. Never go into his forest. That was a poem.
Really?
If you guys couldn't tell.
It was a poem.
I was. Uh, it was one of the better creepypasta poems, in my opinion.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
And I'm gonna give it a 6. I prefer it than Hypno's Lullaby. But this does
Put a smile
bring
on
up
my
a topic
face.
that I want to bring up. So, Slenderman, even though being considered one of the best creepypastas, or one of the most
famous.
recognizable creepypastas, I always found him more of an ARG person,
Yeah.
like creature.
You can do more stuff with him through like art or just like whatever type of art, either it be video or actual art. It's easier and a lot better to use him through there than in like stories. I mean, the stories are what make it creepy and what first gives it life, but once you turn into like art, either it be visual on film or on paper or computer, that's where it really like gets its soul.
Yeah. Plus, whenever you think Slenderman, at least for me, I think Everyman Hybrid, Tribe 12, Dark Harvest. Those really put those plus Marble Hornets, even though Slenderman is technically not in that. Those put Slenderman into the mainstream. Not Der Grossman, not Damerung, whatever, and not Schlenkwald. It was those ARGs which put him into the spotlight.
Yeah.
And sure, he got fairly popular due to the original photos, but those are just photos.
Yeah, edited fake photos.
Yeah.
That brings up a quick topic. If you think any of this is real, you're extremely wrong and you need to fucking stop.
Yeah, take it from those 2 kids now in jail. Back in 2012.
To get out, like next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hold on.
How nice of them.
Hold on. 2 girls stab and over Slenderman release date. It's 20 something. Was in fact
The children, when they get out, I'll fucking do it again.
I'll fucking do it again. Okay, hold on. In 2017, Wire pleaded guilty to being a party to attempted second-degree homicide. Jury then found her not guilty by mental disease or defect. Kaiser accepted a plea offer under which she would not go to trial and would be evaluated by a psychiatrist. Later pleaded guilty and was not found guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Wire was sentenced to 25 years to life until she was 37. Geyser, 40 years, basically until she's 53. So I was totally wrong about that. I must be thinking about a different person who's supposed to get out soon. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, don't.
There's a history.
Steps.
Yeah, only we can do that. I already called dibs.
On what?
You want to come to the forest later?
Is it gonna be?
Or maybe
Zach?
we should go to the Florida boardwalk.
I think it should be Zach. You know what I mean? Zach in the forest.
Shut up, he's already fucking dead.
What about
Not in real life.
let's do Archer. He's alive.
You guys probably won't get this, and
yeah, we're making a joke, and we're not bringing it up.
Yeah, we're not gonna bring up what,
Mm-hmm.
because both of us.
I'd like to keep mine secret. Anyway, so we're only at 20 minutes.
We read 3 creepypastas. We'll just end it now and try to come up with the.
Hey, we're trying not to be original here, alright?
Q.
You know what this is original? Reading multiple stories in one podcast. I think that's pretty original. But of course,
Yeah, well, next time we're possibly gonna do a fucking role-playing game. So
Yeah,
that
stay tuned for
that's
that.
gonna take a few hours if that actually does happen.
Yay.
This has been the Dark Manor podcast. I'm Hayden.
I'm Haxon,
Good night.
and good luck.